Is that tie straight? Because sometimes it's not. Got to make sure the tie is straight. Right. Are we on? What is this? Who's tied that? Got no business tying that. Hey, everybody, just give me a moment to be settled here. I need to situate myself. I never told her to do that. Why is she doing that? Okay, here we go. We're going to toss it over our shoulder here. I'm hoping you guys can hear me. I have done all I can do. After having done all, stand, Word of God says. Um, Before I get into it, I just need to make sure that we have a clear feed because, sometimes the internet is not so clear. It just depends on what day it is and what time it is. So here it is now. I am tasked with making sure that my feed is clear. And from what I can see, I think it is clear. Hey guys, how are you? Hope you're well. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your very busy schedule to spend a few moments with me here on SML TV. Very quickly, I just wanted to bring you up to speed on where I am. I didn't want, I prefer that. The other day, someone asked me, they said, well, what is that? It's just a thing. It's a hand. I got this from a place called The Typo. It's a shop in South Africa, and they sell little trinkets. It's just something I love that I put on my desk. Somebody said to me, no, Dimbiwadi Pandamo. Trust a Zambian to say that to you. There is nothing, there is no intrinsic, this hand has no intrinsic value. There's it's just a thing. Okay. Tell me in the comments if you guys can hear me and tell me where you're watching me from. Somebody said congratulations, thank you so much. Hey, Catherine Brantley, I see you. So good to see you. Always good to see Catherine. Hello, Ezra. Hello, everybody. Hello, Tembo Mamba. Loud and clear, you say Vantu Ngandu. Congratulations. I need to come on here and explain to you what I'm talking about so that we are on the same page. As many of you know, let me bring you up to speed. As many of you know, I have two court cases. Okay. Over the last year or so, I've been going to court back and forth, back and forth. Remember that song? Back and forth. I forget who sang that. Somebody will tell me in the comments. But over the past year, I've been going back and forth to court, and I have two court cases. Well, I had two court cases. Now I only have one left. So it's one down, one to go. Let me explain those court cases, where I am and where we will go. Okay? Just so that everybody's on the same page. The court case I had today, and I have been acquitted. I rushed to the courthouse today, and I was late. I was 15 minutes late. Thankfully, the judge didn't make a big deal out of that. Okay, she just wanted to get to the crux of the deal, and she wanted to get through this. And let me explain what this was about. You remember last year, two gentlemen, a man by the name of Clive Chikula and Cosmo Mumba. You know who Cosmo Mumba is. Cosmo Mumba is a man that he claims to be a family member. He's not a family member. He's just someone we know. Well, his Secretary General, this man that calls himself a Secretary General of Cosmo Mumba's political party, he's been hanging around Simoson here for many years, for about 10 years. He doesn't own a shop. He doesn't own any business here. He's one of these guys that when you come to Simoson, oftentimes when you're looking for a spare part, let's say a car part or anything to do electronics, when you enter the gates of Simoson, usually you'll find these guys. We call them tamangas. Okay. Tamanga in my language means an errand boy, someone who runs errands, someone who does something for you, someone you say, can you go buy me some ice cream or go buy me a cookie? Well, at Simoson, we have these people that are called tamangas. They are a nuisance to the business community here at Simoson. These tamangas, when you walk into Simoson with a spare part, they intercept you. They stop you at the gate. Of course, we have guards, but when you walk through the gate, a guard is not going to stop you. When you walk through the gate, before you walk into the shops, these tamangas would intercept you and say to you, what are you looking for? They would look at the part in your hand. They would literally grab it from you. They don't even ask permission. They just get it from you. And they'll say, oh, yes, I know where to get this. You're looking for this? I know exactly where to get this. So what you need to do is you need to sit there, wait for me, give me 15 minutes. I will be back. Now, because most people that come to Simoson, they don't want to walk around the whole building. So they listen to these tamangas. So you as a customer, you came with a spare part, a tamanga intercepts you, grabs your spare part, asks you to sit down, wait for him. He goes to a shop here at Simoson. He goes to the shop owner and says, I have a customer waiting downstairs. He's looking for this part. How much do you sell this for? The shop owner will say, for example, 400 kwacha. The tamanga will say to the shop owner, no, customer wanga, my customer doesn't have 400. He only has 2. So because the shop owner wants to make a sale, he says, okay, I'll do it at 250 instead of 400. So the tamanga goes back downstairs, goes to you, the customer, and says, oh, I found the part, but the guy is selling it at 600. You, the customer, complained, well, 600 is too much. I got 5. Okay, give me 5. You give the tamanga 500. The tamanga takes the 500, goes up to the shop. He removes 250, gives you, the shop owner, 250. He keeps 250, gets the part, gives it to the customer. The customer leaves. Now, these tamangas don't have any statutory obligation, meaning they don't pay rent, they don't pay water, they don't pay electricity, they don't pay employees. They do none of that. All they do is just hang out Simoson. Well, this man, Clive Chikula, was a tamanga here at Simoson for many years. And we tried over the years to get rid of these guys. These guys are like gnats. They're like parasites, okay? This guy, Clive, he called himself the chairman of these tamangas. We didn't want them here. So because he knew that Simoson management, we didn't want tamangas, this Clive guy, him and I were constantly at loggerheads. So finally, we agreed as management here at Simoson. We said, you know what? We don't need these guys. These guys are just causing problems because all the tenants here at Simoson, all the business owners, all the people that own and run shops, and they run spare part shops and electronic shops, all of them began to complain that, look, these guys are eating into our business and our profit. We don't need them here because they don't pay rent. They don't do anything. All they do is hang out. Well, this guy, Clive, I had him removed physically. I told the guards, I said, the moment you see this joker, you pick him up and you throw him out. Well, the guards did exactly that. Clive turns around. Clive Chikula is his name. You know, him and Cosmo, they They're like two peas in a pod. Those guys are as thick as thieves. Boy, I tell you what, those two, Clive Chikula and Cosmo Mumba, they are as thick as thieves. Crooks, those guys. Well, we had them physically ejected from the property. I mean, I didn't touch them. I just told the guards, I said, hey, guards, remove these jokers from here. And I don't want to see them. I don't want to see them on this property. I don't want to see them anywhere near this property. We had them thrown out. When the guards threw them out, what did Clive do? Clive turns around and says, oh, I've been assaulted. Who assaulted you? Mr. Mwewa assaulted me. Clive goes and gets a medical report from the hospital. And he gives the police some sob story about how Mr. Mwewa assaulted me and blobbity, blobbity, blob. So guess what the police did? The police arrested me for assault. Okay, they said, Mr. Mwewa, we've got a report here. Somebody says you assaulted him. And we as the police, our job is just to do our duty. We investigate, we arrest, we take the matter to court. Clive sends his minions, Clive and Cosmo Mumba, they send some joker, I don't know who that guy was. He shows up and says, Clive and Cosmo Mumba are willing to bury this as long as you pay 5,000 kwacha. If you pay 5,000 kwacha, this whole thing will go away and you'll never see Clive again and you'll never hear about. I said, over my dead body. I said, the devil is a liar. I said, it's not going to happen. I said, listen, man, you're barking up the wrong tree. Listen, you can find the highest hill somewheres and propel yourself off of it. I am not going to give you not one single solitary kwacha because you're trying to embezzle money. Well, you're trying to extort money from me is what it is. First of all, here it is. You lie and you create some foolish sob story that I assaulted you when I didn't do that. And then second of all, you have the audacity, you have the unmitigated gall to walk over here, send one of your emissaries and say to me that I should pay you 5,000 kwacha for this case to go away. I said, it's not going to happen. I said, if we're going to go to court, let's go to court. So guess what? Clive shows up with a medical report and he says, the moment I present this to the court, you're going to prison, Mr. Moore. I said, the devil is a lie. I said, that didn't happen. That is a falsified medical report, and I am going to prove it to the court that you guys are peddling some con game. You know what those guys said to me? They said, Mr. Mwewa, if we go to court, if we take this thing to court, you can forget about your freedom. That's what they said to me. They said, you can forget. Well, they didn't snap their fingers, but, you know, they meant the same. You can forget about your freedom. I said, you know what? You're talking to somebody that's lived a little over half a century. I'm not a spring chicken. You know, I mean, I've gone through a few rodeos. You know, I've been around the block a few times. You can't con me. You can't con me. Who do you think you're talking to? A 3-year-old? I said, that's not going to happen. I said, if we're going to go to court, by goodness, let's go to court. And that's exactly what we did. And guess what? We've been in court for over a year. Over a year. And there's one time, hear this, listen to this. There's one time I went, most of you know that, and this wasn't information that I was going to give out, but I was compelled to give out this information because Cosmo Mumba and Clive Chikula created a false narrative. I flew to South Africa to be with my brother who's ailing. You know, he's got an issue. You know, and I had to disclose this. You know, my brother has a kidney problem, you know, and I went to South Africa to be with him. And here it is, Clive and Cosmo, I missed my court date. And of course, you know, you could argue and say, well, you should have told your lawyer. I did. There was misinformation, lost in translation, whatever it was. It didn't get to the court. Cosmo Mumba comes out and says, uh, Mr. Muera he's run away. He's a fugitive. And Cosmo Mumba offers 5,000 kwacha to anybody who can bring me back from South Africa to the courthouse, which is ridiculous. I mean, immediately, you remember that. I was in South Africa, and immediately I put out a communique. I said, look, I'm not running away from anybody. Okay. I'm not running away from anybody. And I will be back. And I've communicated to the court that I will be back. I came back. We went through the court process today, after 1 year of going back and forth. I was acquitted today. So one down, one more to go. My last court case is, as you know, it's myself versus Tarsila Lungu. Tarsila Lungu and I are in court. We're going to be in court on the 12th of August. We're going to be in court. And that's an ongoing case. And of course, I can't say much about that because that is ongoing. And we're confident, we are confident that, we've dotted all the I's and crossed all the T's. And sure, some of you may think Makebi Zulu is a great lawyer, but you say that because you haven't met Andy Wright. If you think Makebi Zulu's all that and a bag of chips, honey, you haven't met Andy Wright. You don't know what you're talking about when you say Makebi Zulu's all that and a bag of chips. You wait until you come across Andy Wright, boy. Andy Wright don't mess around, boy. So I am confident. I'm confident that we will carry the day, and we'll wait. The court, and all this time I've been in court, I haven't said much about the court case. I mean, I'll update you, but I didn't want to, be in contempt, so I couldn't say too much about the first case, about the assault case, the false assault case. It's false. It was false. Those vagabonds, those parasites, those leeches. They wanted to extort money from me, boy. They failed. They failed. You jokers. That's what you are, a bunch of jokers. I'm talking to Clive and Cosmo Mumba. Those two, they're thick as thieves, boy. Those two, thick as thieves. So let's be clear. One case down, one more to go. I have been acquitted of assault. I did not assault anyone. I simply asked our guards to remove these guys, this guy Clive, because he's a Tamanga. He was causing problems here. All he was doing here was sowing confusion and division and inconvenience. Our tenants complained. Our Simoson business owners have been complaining about him and the likes of him for a long time. We still have Tamangas. We still have them. I mean, every so often there are a few of them here. But Clive was different in the sense that he was trying to make it look like he runs Simoson. And everybody knows that's not true. Okay, so we had to put him in his place. We had to let him know exactly how the cookie crumbles. We had to tell him who's riding high on the saddle. We had to let him know who's the bee's knees. Now, in our effort to do that, he became upset. And he turned around and said, well, I'm going to show you. I'm going to falsely accuse you of assault. And when I do that, I'll take you to court, Mr. Muera. Guess what? You're going to prison. I said, over my dead body. I said, the devil is a liar. I said, you will do no such thing. However long it takes, it could take 2 years. I'm going to go to court. I'll face you in court, Clive. And guess what? I'm going to ride high on the saddle. You are going to be left in the dust. And that's exactly what happened today. That judge looked at me, boy. The judge, yes, I was late. I was 15 minutes late, boy. But that judge looked at me, and boy, she rattled it off. And finally she said, Mr. Muera, I find no fault in you. You are acquitted. You can go home. You can go home to be with your family. You no longer have to worry about Clive and Cosmo and his minions. You're free to go. I love it. So here it is. That's the assault case is gone, finished, wrapped up, done, dusted, thrown away, boy. Now I got one more case, the Tassila Lungu case, boy. One more. And we're going to see how that turns out. Okay. So, guys, thank you so much for watching. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate you. And thank you for those of you that supported me. Thank you. I appreciate that. Thank you. God bless. Bye.